This is Channel 2 News with Dave Young, Jim Conrad, and Glenn Gerberg's weather. Channel 2 News, Denver's first late newscast.
Good evening. It's 9 o'clock in Denver, and thank you for joining us. They're trying to unravel a UFO mystery in Cheyenne tonight. Something hovered over the city early Wednesday morning. The National UFO Center says that something was probably nothing more than twinkling stars, but some people in Wyoming are not convinced. We have two reports tonight, beginning with Channel 2's Julie Hayden.
Hey, if you're not busy, I'd like you to look at something. I got something spotted up here in the sky. I can't figure out what it is.
This is a picture of the unidentified flying object that hovered over Cheyenne early Wednesday morning.
Engine 1, ambulance assist, fasten nickel forward.
Cheyenne's 911 dispatch got the call about 2:30 from a police officer looking for help figuring out just what it was he was looking at.
Check your book there, see if you have a number for, a direct number for Denver Center.
According to 911 records, the officer saw a circular object floating in the sky. There were blue and white lights on the top, red lights running along the bottom, and he said it was moving slowly across the horizon. That's exactly what Warren Air Force Base Sergeant Scott Chafee saw and photographed with his 35mm camera. And it's the same thing Roger Gibbons saw.
It was kind of long-shaped and kind of oblong, and it kind of curved in it, and you can see lights in the middle going around like this, changing colors from red, blue, green, and even some yellow in it. It did have some bright white lights coming from, I don't know, the top of it or something. But
he tried to flag it down, but it just hovered over him for about a half hour. Others watched it too. It showed up on air traffic radar, and a freight pilot flying through confirmed something was up there. Now, there's enough evidence to convince the dispatch center this is more than a suspicious circumstance, and it is indeed an unidentified flying object.
When you first get a suspicious circumstance, that could mean anything. That could be an airplane, that could be stars, that could be a helicopter, that could be anything. And then when they can't identify it as a star and they can't identify it as an aircraft, then they have to assume that it is a unidentified flying object.
Skeptics point out unidentified does not necessarily mean alien. Roger says call him crazy. There's no doubt in his mind he had a close encounter.
it was closer than the stars. It stood there and it changed colors, and you could basically see it rotating around.
Whatever it was, it returned last night when there were several new reports of UFO sightings over Cheyenne. Julie Hayden, Channel 2 News.
This is Dave Young. Out in an isolated part of Wyoming, about a half hour from Cheyenne, there's a listening post, listening for years. It's called the Granite Earth Station, listening for interstellar travelers. It was built and manned by Dan Lill, Doctor of Metaphysics. He has one purpose for his homemade UFO command post.
Establish contact, actually certified contact with UFO entities. If we can communicate with them, we can learn from them. In other words, don't fear them, communicate.
Using what he claims are the truest principles of magnetic vortices, what could be called Lill's theory of space travel, he explains how each of his hand-tooled contraptions works.
Okay. This is working on the principle that if UFOs are flying, they are creating some sort of a static electricity that will flow around, and as they pass over, it'll kick.
He is one of the most sincere ufologists you'll ever want to meet, and not the least bit surprised by all the recent Cheyenne sightings. He says he's a former test pilot and that he's tracked at least 300 visitors from other places. He even has a few pictures of one he says he communicated with via his control room.
They're using probably some form of magnetic energy off the Colorado, Wyoming, all the way up in the Canada mountains. This type of energy. We haven't yet discovered how the UFO flies. So if we could find out how they're propelled, maybe we could do the same thing. I don't know.
He's very wary of the government's handling of UFOs, so he doesn't share his theories, and he admits that some might think he's crazy.
All the great inventors were looked upon as being a little loony up here. But look what we got today.
And he's just waiting for the day they finally decide to land on the White House lawn.
We're here, and then we'll be sitting right on top of a brand new age.
Now, whatever you believe about what was seen up in Cheyenne, you may be interested to know now that several national publications are also interested in the story, so you'll probably be hearing more about it in the weeks to come.